Going live.
There we are.
All right, we are live. So, first of all, this is the very first book club meeting for Teach Like a Pirate. And I want to thank my lovely guinea pigs, I mean volunteers, of course, for coming on and being in the very first book club meeting that we have. So thank you. Oh, look at Michelle. What are you eating? Yum.
I made strawberry frozen yogurt tonight, and I'm sitting outside. I have to eat it faster.
Oh, yum. So, first of all, thank everybody for joining me, and I want to say thank you to Rio for being so enthusiastic. I was blown away at how many people were excited and signed up and wanted to do the book club for Teach Like a Pirate. I was really, really proud to be a Rio person. So thank you very much, and how about if we take turns introducing ourselves, and I'm going to get rid of the pirate thing now because it's making me crazy. So, Gus, go for it. Introduce yourself.
Hi, well, I'm Gus Garcia. I work at Rio Vista Middle School, and reading Teach Like a Pirate, I kind of find out a lot of us are starting to already teaching like pirates. You know, we're kind of doing our thing and really pushing some of these limits that we've maybe grown up with. I've had for quite a while now, 18 years of teaching. I've gone through a few different phases, and I like this phase right now.
I have to agree with you. I absolutely am so excited about where education is going and where Rio is going. So I agree with you, Gus. Nice job. And then how about Emily? Go for it, Miss Emily.
I've been in the library services for 8 years. I've been a district volunteer for 15. I've seen a lot of changes in the district, and one of my favorite changes is having the K1 go back to 24-1. It's one of my favorite changes. What grade are you teaching now?
I'm third.
Oh, you're third. You were like 1 or 2 when I was there.
I was. I've gone up, and I'll never go back. I'm so done with the little babies. And speaking of the little bit, yeah, no more. But Miss Gear, hey, Miss Gear.
Hi. Yeah, I went partway out. I was in K, and now I'm in first, and I'm working my way up the ladder.
Are you going to go high? Well, you were higher, though. You were at 4th grade for a while.
Yeah, I did 4th for a while. I would love to go back up. I don't know. It's fun. My limit's about 4 years in one grade level before I need to switch, and then I'm good with repeating after that. But yeah, 4 years is like my max. So we're on year 2 of 1st grade.
All right, 2 more years then.
2 more years.
And Dr. Volmert.
I'm sort of the token administrator, I guess. Usually I never join a club that would have me as a member, but thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be part of this conversation.
You're too funny. Okay, so what were your overall impressions? What did you think so far with Teach Like a Pirate? And Gus, I think you said something that I 100% agree with. It's and that's kind of what I want to know. Was there something in this first part that any of you thought, hey, I do that already? That's something I already do. Then was there anything that you guys that jumped out at you in this first part? What are your impressions overall?
Well, this passion for learning, this passion for teaching, and tuning into our passion is really evident, around the group of people that I'm surrounded, especially in summer school. I mean, we got people taught all year long, and now they're into their 5th week of teaching during the summer, and the passion is still really high. So that's wonderful to be a part of and to do in my class also.
I have to say, you've got the folks that were doing the Google Ninja Academy, and that was awesome. And then we had the science thing, and that was awesome. And we've still got teachers doing some great stuff with kids all through the summer. And then you think about 37 teachers in the middle of the summer volunteer to be part of this book club and read about education and classrooms and teaching. all during the summer. So I agree. I think it's really cool that we've got so many teachers in the district that are that passionate and that committed to the profession. That's really, really exciting to me.
Yeah, I'm so impressed. I am just beyond impressed at the number of responses that we got when we sort of put out and said, hey, you guys want to read a book over the summer? I was really, really surprised at how many people responded. It was nice. So anything else, anything that jumped out at you, Michelle?
I loved his day 2. I would love to pretend like I'm running around in an airplane and then crash land and then make my way to the carpet and, you know, pass out for a little bit and make it through, but I don't know that my kids could handle that, so that might have to be modified a little bit.
Yeah, your first graders would all run screaming out, and this is gear, something happened to this is gear.
They would.
They totally would. So now, back to the first part was talking about passion, and what it was 3 kinds of passion. Your content passion, something that you like to teach every year that you just absolutely love. Your professional passion, which we don't even have to talk about. The fact that you guys are here with me right now on a Tuesday night, the fact that hopefully we have some people watching, the fact that we will even have some people watching later once this gets posted to YouTube. You know, our passion is obviously there. Is there something in your content that just really fires you up that you like to teach every year? Anybody?
For me, it's pumpkins. I love plant science life cycle, and my kids really had a blast with it this year. We grew a pumpkin inside a pumpkin just to see if it would work, and it was every week they're like, we have to go visit our pumpkin, we have to go see our pumpkin. So it really carried over through the whole year and got to pull math into it and writing and everything else. And I think when you find something like that your kids are interested in and you're interested in and can be passionate about, it really just makes your classroom so much better.
Very beautifully said, Mrs. Gear. And so, Emily, you have the library. What is it that what passion do you bring to the library? The kids that come in, you know, what is it that you see?
The background I have is in history. So when we read Storytime K1, we try to involve some sort of nonfiction book also. And we try to bring history into it and how it's relevant to today. I did notice that he talked a lot about civil rights in the first chapter. I didn't read ahead, but in the first reading assignment, he talked about civil rights. And we try to bring that in, especially civil rights. That's such a big deal here in California, I think. And I wasn't raised with that kind of a background, so I feel like I'm getting to be passionate about it now. I would say I'm less science and math, more history.
Nice. What about you, Gus?
Well, just to go off what Emily said, I mean, I thought it was great how he was talking about his passion was teaching civil rights, and then he can bring that in and connect it to the kids who are struggling with problems at home and have a concrete example or somewhat concrete example of somebody who made it from the very bottom, like the situations you can imagine, to somebody of prominence people respected and listened to and followed. But as for me, in this new position I'm in, I like teaching 3D printing a lot. 3D print design, that's starting to become a passion of mine. Brand new to it, but it's absolutely a blast to teach and a blast to be a part of. So I'm really enjoying that, along with flying quadcopters and RC clubs and the whole maker space. Get to tinker and do things and build and be creative. It's a really good time. I have a lot of passion right now.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing I have, interestingly enough, discovered only the last couple of years or so, and it's sort of an eco thing, and which is interesting because I'm not really this giant, you know, green tree hugger kind of. I mean, I'm really not. But I think what I like the best about this kind of thing with the kids, 2 years ago was water bottle recycling, and last year was trash and litter and how it ends up in the ocean. But I think one of the things I love about it is that this is something that the kids can really get into, and they can feel like they can do something about it, that they can make a change. You know, it's really neat to start talking about it. You know, the kids can relate to litter. You know, everybody can, oh, look, there's litter on the floor. I mean, the kids get into that. But I think what I really like the most is how excited they get and enthusiastic they get, and they really take it in and try to make a change. They go home, I know, because parents tell me, and they start lecturing people at home, and they start, well, what if we see someone who litters? What do we do? I mean, so they take it seriously, and I think it's fun to watch them do that. What about you, Mike?
Well, in my job, I don't much get to teach except when folks like you let me come in and play with your kids, and I think the content for me, because I taught science, I majored in biology, but getting a chance to share that kind of stuff is always fun. But I think more than that, I like to teach, like Gus was saying, the process of design and the process of building things, and then the process of thinking through what the result is actually meaning, and watching kids kind of figure things out and then extend that to other things that they see in the world, for me, is the biggest deal. You talk about your trash thing. Having the kids figure out ways to design things that would make people pay attention to what's going on was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. They really liked that. I challenged them to come up with an invention that would encourage people, make people throw their trash away, and they came up with some really, really fun ideas. And something that I really liked that he talked about, the author, that hasn't really been, it's interesting talking about the word passion, because when I first got my teaching credential, and I did my very first interview for a teaching job down in LA Unified, one of the things I remember saying in the interview was that teaching was my passion. But interestingly enough, that feeling went away for a lot of years, and so I think it's kind of neat that that word is coming back in relation to teaching, and not just what I liked was his personal passion part, and how he brought his personal into the classroom. That's what I really liked. So what do you guys bring in as far as personal passion?
Oh, mine's art. This year we did a lot of acrylic, which was awesome, and got to do that with the kids and teach them all about colors and blending colors and primary and secondary and tertiary colors and how to make different things. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun with the kids. Whenever we got to paint, it was awesome. We even had our principal come in one time and paint with us, and found out halfway through that he was colorblind and he didn't tell us. So that was kind of interesting when I'm like, okay, well, we're all doing green over here and you're doing blue.
Yeah.
So I love doing art with my kids, because I think there's a lot that you can teach them of how to do things that they don't think that they can do, and then it just gives them that skill and the confidence to be able to try more things that they don't think, oh, well, I want to be good at that, or I can't draw as good as you can. But when you break it down for them and show them the steps, they really can be successful, and they can produce something that they're really proud of.
Mrs. Legospi, can I say what I'm going to do
Absolutely.
for next year?
Absolutely.
We only did it a couple times this year. The K and 1 are very dependent on their story time, and they seem to look forward to it. I didn't know library was cool until this year. I thought it was something that the teachers made their kids do, and I found out if they have to miss library because of an assembly or I'm at an in-service or something, they're close to having a meltdown. That's something they really look forward to. So I prototyped with a couple of K classes to reenact the books that we read. I think that's going to be a regular part. So I guess theater will be a regular part of coming. A story time is offered to all grades, but usually 2nd through 5th grade, they have so much going on at library time. There's just not enough time left for story time in the time that they've been assigned, whereas K and 1 make a priority of it. So I think my passion this next year is to bring more theater at least once a week into story time. It'll be, the history lesson will be more with the nonfiction books, and the theater will be more with the storybooks, picture books. We're lucky that we have big books at Lindo. We have a lot of big books. The last site that I was at didn't have any big books. So this is really cool that I have access to over 100 big books.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's going to be fun. The kids are going to love that.
I think so.
Anyone else?
I was just thinking, Elise, about your statement about interviewing for being a teacher. And when I was a site administrator and would spend our summers interviewing for open teaching spots, one of my colleagues and I, we debated constantly about what sort of questions to ask teachers and what sort of things to look for. And to this day, I hold that I really don't care what they know about the practice of teaching or what their technical knowledge is in their subject area or anything like that. I always wanted to find questions to get at the heart of how they feel about kids and working with kids. And reading the part of the first part of Burgess's book about professional passion and his LCLs, those sort of life lessons that he rolls into things, you know, finding the teachers that really get a joy out of seeing kids, like Michelle said, you know, they learn that they can do things they didn't think they could do before. Finding those sorts of teachers is in my mind really, really critical. And you know, we see a lot of those in the district. There are conversations all the time about, you know, these kids don't think they can do this kind of stuff, and just watch them. You know, all our kids have laptops, and we've had visitors come and we tell them that there are kids in kindergarten and first grade, and we have laptops there. Oh, those kids can't use laptops. They're you know, when I tell them that there are schools that elected to only have laptops for those kids because they handle them quite nicely, people are blown away. They just don't believe that these kids can do the sorts of things they can do. So having teachers that are just, you know, really tuned in to making those sorts of things happen and watching kids grow, for me, is really, really exciting.
Emily, you were mentioning about reading out loud, and there's just continues to be lots of research about how crucial read-alouds really are and how powerful they are. So go get them. Go more read-alouds, you know, even in those upper grades. I mean, they like them too.
Well, we're very grateful that we're full-time now. We've been full-time a little over a year. We're very grateful. There wasn't time before for read-alouds. It was, you know, treat them and street them. It was like speed dating in the library. Kids come in, the class.
Get a book, get out of here. Yeah.
It was like speed dating. Come in with the number of classes that we had, and we just recently added kindergarten for library time. There just wasn't enough time at 4 hours to get all the classes through in 5 days. Now we're able to extend the library period past 20 minutes and enjoy read-alouds. I will say that a lot of my 4th and 5th graders come into the library without a teacher. They're that well behaved, and they take looking for their own books on their own terms very seriously. So, you know, as long as they're really good kids in the library, I want them to feel really cool to not come in with a teacher. But that doesn't work with everybody. It works with some classes, and we're trying to let the kids do more things.
Hey, Gus, you sparked a thought. You know, you guys are right next to an elementary school, What do you think about getting some of the kids, like the struggling readers that we want to read more, to read a book into the computer and create like a screencast or build a PowerPoint presentation that they narrate, so they read the story and then they go next door and share it with a first grade or a second grade class. Their motivation to read is going to be really high because they don't want to look dumb in front of a bunch of kids, right? But how cool would it be to see those kids go work with the younger kids in terms of reading and that kind of stuff? Let's talk about that. I think that might be fun.
That's a great idea. We did a dedicated half hour during SSR time, where we pulled struggling readers and really had fun reading with them to try to bring that joy back. So it was all about fun, not really about the skills of reading, enjoying a book. And that would be great during that time to do some of these things.
I think it'd be a blast.
That would be so cool. That would be really cool. The kids would really like that.
Do you still have reading buddies at your site?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, yes and no. Some classes do and some don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Elise, you had sort of reading buddies, but they were in like Virginia or something like that, right?
We had it was the year before. We had a class that we were doing book buddies with, and we had buddied up the kids more or less by AR level, and it was a class in San Diego, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was really it was
almost Virginia.
Yeah, sort of.
Not quite.
San Diego's not real. Yeah, exactly. So I think my favorite chapter out of the whole book is the chapter about rapport, and then where he talks about his first 3 days of teaching. You had mentioned it, Michelle, like his day 2 you were talking about earlier. I think that is like the best chapter, well, one of my favorite chapters anyway, because I agree with him completely, wholeheartedly. You know, there's one part at the beginning of that chapter where he talks about nothing is more important to him than setting the stage for the rest of the year. He says something like no content matters to him, you know, that very beginning of the year, because he wants to set that tone for the whole year. What do you guys do in your classes those very first few days of school to kind of set the tone for that whole rest of the year? Oh, Mr. Kelman! All right, Mr. Kelman! Hi, Mr. Kelman. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Finally made it. I forgot my pirate outfit. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You can go into the tools on the left-hand side of your screen and set it up there.
There you go. You got the book. That's what's important.
Yes, I had a few roadblocks, but I won't bore you with all the details.
Oh, no. Okay, so introduce yourself real quick, Mr. Kelman.
Hi, Larry Kelman, Sagittarius, 4th grade teacher in Rio del Norte in the Rio School District, and here I am. Been teaching, going into my 20th year of teaching, starting in a month.
Wow, you and I are both in our 20s. Wow.
Yes.
And see, I think that's what we should tell people, too. We are in our 20s. That's what we need.
Actually, one of my students said she thought this summer thought I was in my 30s because I looked so active, she said. So I told her she won the award for my favorite student. Yes.
There you go. There you go. Well, Mr. Kelman, we were just talking about the rapport chapter, where the author, Dave Burgess talks about the beginning, his first 3 days of school are like the most important days of school for him. He says something, he does not care about content at the very beginning because he wants to set the tone. And so I was just asking our people if there's anything that they do at those beginning first days of school to set the tone. So that's kind of where we are.
Okay. Then is it my turn?
Sure, go for it.
Michelle, are you awake there? It looks like you're sleeping with
I
your...
am awake. I know,
Okay.
because it's just like the angle of where the camera is.
I got you. Okay. Yeah,
I
because
was asleep earlier, but you missed that.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm a big. I remember reading the first Harry Wong's First Days of School, saying, for years how the first 3 days are important. We kind of set the tone one way or the other. So I have the students come in on the board or anything. I want to make them feel more comfortable. Usually do like a scavenger hunt the first beginning of the day, just so everyone can kind of get out of their seats and did you go to a park? Did you go to the beach? Did you go out of town? Did you go to the pool? Just to try to get them to talk to each other and kind of key in if there might be like new students to our school and kind of make them feel comfortable. And let's see, over the first few days, I kind of hold off on the rule thing. I kind of wait till the kids start talking about it. By fourth grade, they kind of know the rules, but kind of make that come out natural and just get some community building type of activities. I have a bunch of them, but I don't think you want to hear all the details right now. Hi, Gus. You look frozen also.
Well, as soon as we're done here, I'm almost done with summer school, and I got to get finished with a few things. But as far as kind of what Larry was talking about, we focus a lot on collaboration and respect in the classroom. So we go out and do some games where we have to collaborate and kids rely on each other, and they're really low games, but they involve everybody and everybody kind of helping each other to reach the goals. So the first just about trying to lower that affective filter and get the kids, to sell the program. Coming to school is going to be okay. In here and that you'll have success.
Make it non-threatening. Oh, sorry.
How about you, Michelle?
We start out with puzzles. We really do, because they're at an age where, with my first graders, that a lot of it is about manners and learning that you are not the only person in the room. So we do puzzles, and we do them in different groups, and it kind of lets me see who your natural leaders are and who your kids are that'll just take a back seat if you don't really focus on them. So it's really a good insight into your class. But then we do a bunch of other team building activities too, where you have to learn each other's names, because just like you said in the book, I think it's really important that the kids know the other kids' names and that they know who's in their room.
Exactly. On the first day of school for the last few years, I've done what I call a cups activity. It's, for lack of a better word, and there we go. And basically they take plastic cups and they have to start them in a certain configuration, and then by the end of it they have to build a little pyramid with the cups. The trick is, though, that they cannot touch the cups with their hands. And so there's a rubber band, and it's got 4 strings attached to each rubber band, and so we've got groups of 4 kids. They can only use one hand on the end of the string. That's it, only one hand on the end of the string. And then by working together, they have to turn these little plastic cups, they have to build a pyramid out of them, and they get such a kick out of it. But just like you were talking about, Michelle, you really see who the leaders are, you see how they work together. I kind of wander around and I listen and see what kinds of things are they talking about. Are they encouraging each other? Are they, are they working together? Is one kid kind of taking over? And it's funny because you'll see that kid that will reach over to some other kid and grab their string, so they've got a string in each hand, and they're trying to, they kind of take over. So it's an interesting dynamic to watch. It's really fun to watch. That's what I do on the very first day of school.
I used to do this activity. I still kind of do it sporadically, but the Kevin Hankey's book called Chrysanthemum, And anyway, it's about these kids who make fun of this girl with a long name. And at the end of the story, we do kind of a graphing activity where they write their names on like 1-inch graph paper, like a sheet of it. And we talk about different ways to kind of graph their names. You know, usually comes out in alphabetical order, boys, girls. Long is your name, because that's kind of the theme of the story. And it's just another good way for kids to get up and get to know each other and learn the names. And we did this really cool thing this summer at a summer camp with the origami, with Bijan, the origami guy. And the kids made name cards in origami, just folding a regular paper into like 4 quadrants. And then they built paper stacks. So there'd be like 4 names standing up like this on the paper. And then you put a flat sheet of paper and they go like 6, 7 stacks high. So that was kind of fun. And I was thinking of doing something like that with like a team building, community building kind of activity. 32 kids, it's hard to get everybody's names down right away.
I'm struck that nobody said, I've only got 180 days and all this stuff that I have to teach the kids. I'm encouraged. I mean, you know.
That's because we all read that line of you have to choose between standardized tests and having a great classroom.
There you go.
Take it to heart, and we're going to use it later on, so you're going to hear it.
And
good job,
I'm all over it. You know, the reality is, we could make a list of stuff that we could argue forever that, you know, we think kids have to know. But the fact of the matter is, we have no clue what kids need to know by the time we turn them loose to college and the workplace and that kind of stuff. But the one thing we do know is that these kids have to be able to know how to learn in environments that are new to them and in situations where they don't have a lot of preset sort of preparation. It's foreign matter. And if they know how to handle those situations, if they know how to work in a strange group and be a team with people that they haven't spent a lot of time with, we've taught them way more than a ginormous list of stuff that somebody has listed in some book of standards. You know, the first part of school, Larry, I'm sorry, I'm not a Harry Wong guy, but I think his point about the first days of school being really important is crucial. It's what we do in those first days of school, you know, that make or break the environment for the kid. You know, we might have a focus on, you know, setting,
I mean, that's the part that resonated
all
the
that
most.
Kind of stuff. But it's really what the kid is feeling. You know, are they comfortable? Do they feel like
it was my first day of teaching at Rio.
Yeah. Is it a safe place? I added to the chat a link from a friend of mine, John Carippo, who worked at a school up in O'Neill's, which is a little town just outside of Yosemite Valley. And they did a thing, they still do. It's actually a 3-week program at their school, but he calls it Smart Start. And they talk about identity, and they talk about individual passion, and they talk about learning, and they talk about community. And the one thing they don't talk about is stuff. You know, there's no history lessons, there's no math class, but the kids learn all sorts of skills and all sorts of ideas that are critical to them as learners. And then, after they've done with their Smart Start curriculum, which really isn't a curriculum other than it's just organized conversations that all the teachers are participating in, then they can go into their content and the kids rip it. It's amazing. You walk on that campus anytime into any class, and what you see is a bunch of kids in a culture of learning, and there's this sense of purpose in terms of what they're doing, and they're all enjoying it. You know, I think it'd be really interesting for us as a district to have that kind of conversation about what we all do collectively with our kids during the first several days of school, to create a sort of, well, it's his word, Smart Start, but that sort of environment, so that, you know, we get kids dialed in, and they're all focused on their own sense of learning. It would be really, really interesting to have that conversation.
Yeah. And we have an interesting schedule because we have 2 days, right, I believe, and then Labor Day weekend, then we come back for that third day
Right.
on next week. So it's kind of like you build that momentum for a couple of days, then they're off for 3 days, then you got to come back and kind of tie it all up together. But
but imagine what would happen if during those 2 days it was like so disruptive and so different from what the kids expect.
Sure.
You know, and so then they go away for 3 days, and it's like, wait a second, that was school? What's this all about? And now they're processing that kind of stuff, and then you bring them back and you reinforce it for a couple days.
Right.
I think you could really impact some kids with a well-placed sort of Smart Start program.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to make sure they come back after the long weekend.
Definitely. Yeah, if they go home for 3 days and all they're thinking is, oh my God, I've got to go to frickin' Kelman's class for 178 more days. No, that would not be good.
Yeah, and we're having a test on Tuesday when you come back, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, here's your homework. Test on Tuesday.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I think those are my favorite pages, is where he outlines, what he does the first day, the second day, and like Michelle said, when he's crawling on the floor pretending to be a plane crash victim or whatever it was. But there was a point. There's something that he says that really struck me, and I think it's something that most of us think of on a subconscious level, but I think reading it out loud in words really made me think, okay, that's it right there. He said something about every student in your class in the first few days of the semester is evaluating whether your room is going to be emotionally and psychologically safe for them. And I think we sort of innately kind of, but having read it in print really made it stand out to me, because that is exactly what it is. The kids are looking at you like, is this going to be a good place? Am I going to be able to share my ideas? Am I going to be safe? Am I going to, enjoy and learn? And so I think that's absolutely essential for those first days of school. And any questions, that the kids will come up with those first few days of school, I absolutely jump on those, because if you got a kid that's asking you a question, and you know the kind of question I mean, you got a kid that's asking you a question those first couple of days of school when they tend to be really shy and quiet and just sort of sit there, that's definitely a kid that I will, just make this big deal. That's a wonderful question. I love that question, and just make a big deal of it, because that's the kind of culture that we want to create in our classrooms. Well, I really, really thank all of you, and I have one more assignment for you, so don't flip out. I got one more assignment for you all.
Wait, we have
besides, yes, you have homework. Yes.
Huh?
No, you absolutely have homework. I'm just so sorry, and let's not even go to that discussion. We can go to that homework discussion later. So here, before I give you your next assignment, I want you to remember, so it says progress is always found outside your comfort zone. It's funny. So I'm going to tell you this completely, totally unrelated story. It doesn't have anything to do with teaching whatsoever. So I have quite a few Jillian Michaels DVDs, the workout things. And I like her because she pushes you. She really is. She's not the kind of nice, yeah, just a little bit. No, she's sitting in there going, you need to bump it up, and you need to move it, and you need to go. But one of the things she always says that really makes me think of other areas is that you're not making progress unless you're uncomfortable. So that's one of the things. So I want you all to think about that. And people out there watching, whenever they happen to be watching too, this is an assignment for you all. So this is an assignment for everyone. When you watch on YouTube later, this is for you. So what I would like to do is have you enter, type in the GHO in your address bar. And what it will do is it will take you to a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is asking for, oh great, Okay, so give me a second. It's going to load. So
by the way, that's an awesome extension. Everybody should use it.
I know. I love that extension. I absolutely love it. So it is a link to a spreadsheet that we are all going to crowdsource. We're all going to populate this spreadsheet. Down at the bottom, I have tabs for after every single meeting, and I want to try to leave people with something to think about and something to add into this spreadsheet at the end of each meeting. And so your homework is to click on the tab that says Meeting 1, and to pick a square, any square. Doesn't it sound like a game show? Pick a square or any square. So pick a square and then put in one of your favorite activities that you do at the beginning of the school year that will, and describe it a little bit, so that way when we're done with this whole thing, I'm hoping that we will have 4 or 5 tabs full of lots and lots of ideas for everyone to go back and share and look at. So for this week, and again, I'm talking to everybody out there, pick a cell and type in something that you do the first day of school that sets the tone. So something that you do that, whatever it is. Describe it just a little bit and put your name on there. That way we can come find you later if we have questions. Like, oh, that was a really neat activity, the one about the whatever, tell me some more about it. Okay, does that make sense? Is that cool?
Yep.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we can't use the dog ate the homework excuse then, huh?
No, there's
only
no
if you have
homework,
pieces
there's
of plastic
no dog. Yeah.
Well, actually, we do have a teacher whose dog ate his iPad.
I know about.
So it could happen.
Okay.
Okay, so I for of you, can you hear me?
Kind of.
I got the little rainbow circle.
Okay, I can hear you again.
Okay, good.
Sure.
I got the little rainbow circle. I about had a heart attack. Anyway, so I'll also post that link out and send emails out too. That way, if you missed it, no excuse, no excuse. So add your really cool ideas in there. Dr. Volmert, if you haven't already, if you're not already planning to, would you definitely maybe put a link to that John Carripo's Smart Start things? Because I was looking at that today. There was something about a marshmallow challenge, and there's some really cool stuff in there. So if you would please.
I'll add that to the spreadsheet. Since I don't teach a class, I don't really get to play much, but I'll add that link. Because if I was teaching a class, that's what I do.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
you can come to our library and read to the kids anytime that you want.
I'm all over it.
There you go.
That'd be great.
Yep, yep. And my door's always open.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Mike was on your roster this year, actually.
I think he was.
He sends me over
to join my music club next year with his new 1966 Stratocaster.
My Fender Strat.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I have kept you all for 45 minutes, and I really, really, really thank you all very much for coming and discussing and sharing. And don't forget to go to the spreadsheet and add your really cool ideas. And thank you to our people that are watching. I know we have a few people that have been coming and going and watching, and I'm hoping that we have a few people that are, okay, I got to show you with the hat. Got to show you with the hat, Mike.
Well,
and so
Emily invited me to come read to the kids, so I'm all over it.
Oh, that would be fantastic, and I'd be very thankful.
I thought that was his pirate hat.
That's his Dr. Seuss hat.
That's my Dr. Seuss hat.
Uh-huh.
At least is this assignment due before next Tuesday then? Is that we're going to stay on the schedule? Is that the deal, or do you want to?
Yeah. So we'll keep doing Tuesdays. We may vary the time a little bit, just depending on how people are liking the 7 o'clock time. But yeah, we're on the schedule is still there. I'll add links to the schedule, and I will email I'll add a link to actually the link to the spreadsheet that I just showed you is at the bottom of that schedule. So if you get back on that schedule, the link is at the very, very bottom of that schedule. So again, thank you. I am absolutely thrilled that you guys are here and that we're doing this. So thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Elise, for organizing it.
Bye-bye.
Ahoy, mateys. Ahoy,
All
mateys.
right.
Good night.